Whitney Webb's recent post has reignited conversations about Palantir's controversial involvement in predictive policing and its connection to the Total Information Awareness Program, a government initiative from the early 2000s designed to collect and analyze massive amounts of data to preemptively thwart threats like terrorism, bioterrorism, and more. These efforts pose profound implications not just for national security, but also for financial markets and civil liberties. So, what's really happening and how does this affect you? Let's dive in. First, let's break down predictive policing. At its core, it's about using advanced algorithms and data analytics to predict where crimes are likely to occur or who might commit them. The technology aggregates data from various sources: social media, criminal records, surveillance footage, and even seemingly innocuous public information. The idea? Preemptive intervention to stop crimes before they happen. Now, Palantir Technologies is at the forefront of this field. Originally funded by In-Q-Tel, the CIA's venture capital arm, Palantir developed software that has become indispensable for law enforcement agencies and governments worldwide. Their tools promise unparalleled insight, allowing users to identify patterns and make data-driven decisions. But here's where it gets complex. While the technology itself is neutral, its application raises red flags. Critics argue that predictive policing can lead to over-surveillance, racial profiling, and a troubling pre-crime society, akin to what we've seen in dystopian fiction. Proponents, however, claim it's a necessary evolution in maintaining public safety in an increasingly complex world. For investors, this tension presents both an opportunity and a risk. To understand the roots of these debates, we need to look at the Total Information Awareness Program. TIA, launched in the wake of 9/11s, aimed to integrate and analyze vast amounts of data to prevent future terrorist attacks. It was ambitious and unprecedented, but quickly met with public outcry due to its implications for privacy and civil liberties. The program was officially shuttered in 2003, but its legacy lives on through initiatives like predictive policing and surveillance technologies, many of which are now spearheaded by private firms like Palantir. What's important to note here is the transition of such efforts from public to private hands. Companies like Palantir operate under a different set of oversight and accountability measures compared to government programs. This shift has profound implications for transparency, regulation, and the balance of power between corporations and governments. For the financial sector, it also signals a lucrative but potentially volatile investment landscape. From an investor standpoint, Palantir is a fascinating case study. The company's revenue model relies heavily on government contracts and partnerships with large enterprises. Its Gotham software, used primarily by law enforcement and defense agencies, and its Foundry platform, tailored for commercial use, form the backbone of its business. In recent years, Palantir has expanded its footprint beyond security into areas like healthcare, supply chain optimization, and financial analytics. This diversification makes it a resilient player in the tech sector. However, its core business remains rooted in surveillance and data analytics, a double-edged sword. The upside: a growing demand for predictive analytics in an increasingly data-driven world. The downside: ethical and regulatory risks that could impact its market valuation. Palantir's close association with controversial initiatives like predictive policing could alienate investors prioritizing environmental, social, and governance criteria. No conversation about predictive policing and surveillance is complete without addressing the ethical and regulatory landscape. Programs like TIA and Palantir's tools are criticized for their potential to infringe on individual privacy and civil liberties. Imagine living in a society where your every move is tracked, analyzed, and potentially flagged as a risk, not based on actions you've taken, but on predictions of what you might do. This Orwellian scenario isn't far-fetched, and it's why watchdog groups, activists, and even some lawmakers are calling for stricter oversight of such technologies. For companies like Palantir, the challenge lies in balancing innovation with accountability. Investors must weigh the financial potential of these technologies against the reputational and regulatory risks they carry. Moreover, as public awareness grows, we may see increased scrutiny from both consumers and governments. This could lead to new regulations that limit the scope of predictive policing or impose stricter data privacy standards. Such developments would have significant implications for the financial performance of companies in this sector. Beyond Palantir, the rise of predictive policing and surveillance technologies has ripple effects across various sectors. Cybersecurity firms, cloud computing providers, and AI companies all stand to gain as demand for sophisticated data analysis tools grows. At the same time, industries that rely heavily on consumer trust, such as finance and retail, may face challenges if they are perceived as complicit in mass surveillance. For institutional investors, this creates a complex landscape. On one hand, there's undeniable growth potential in sectors aligned with surveillance and data analytics. On the other hand, the ethical and reputational risks could lead to volatility, especially as public sentiment and regulatory frameworks evolve. Retail investors, too, need to stay informed. Understanding the nuances of this market can help you make more informed decisions about where to allocate your capital. Remember, innovation drives growth, but accountability drives sustainability. So, what does the future hold? Predictive policing and surveillance technologies are here to stay, but their trajectory will depend on how society navigates the ethical, legal, and financial challenges they present. For companies like Palantir, the key will be transparency, responsible innovation, and adaptability to an ever-changing regulatory landscape. For investors, this is both an opportunity and a cautionary tale. The potential for growth is immense, but so are the risks. As always, do your due diligence, stay informed, and consider the broader implications of where you put your money. And for policymakers and society at large, the challenge will be to strike a balance between leveraging technology for safety and preserving the freedoms and rights that define us as individuals.